Hello, and thank you for joining me on 8. I am Maggie. So, we are getting up to it, down to it, however you want to put it, but we are getting back to our Excuses Be Gone by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this book? Because it is a book on how to change lifelong self-defeating thinking habits. And if you even pick up one tool from this, which I know you'll pick up way more than one, could change your life and the lives of those around you. And since we are game changers, the spark that lights a fire, we are taking it in and seeing what we can do to help ourselves and help humanity. So we're in chapter 14, the third question, what's the payoff? And right now we are talking about common hidden payoffs for excuse making, and we were up to the fourth one. So manipulation, let's get it going. One of the great payoffs that so many of these excuses provide is the opportunity to manipulate others into doing your bidding. While this may not seem as the most positive of things, that's nevertheless just what happens. When you make the choice to use an excuse such as, I don't have the energy, I'm too busy, I'm strong enough, or I'm not strong enough or smart enough, it's hard to say these things now, or the like, you place the responsibility on some other person over there. And when you study like Neville Goddard, he talks about we are the first cause, right? So if we're out blaming people, we are missing the whole point that everything starts with us. But anyway, when we put things outside of ourselves, that's when we lose our power. So getting back to this, after you've given the person your explanations on why you can't do something, you can then sit back comfortably and watch how they spur him or her into action. Okay, so as the father of 8 children, I've seen this strategy thousands of times. For example, I'm too tired transfers to have someone else do the chore. The payoff, I get to sleep while another person takes on my responsibilities. I can't afford it or spend all my money translates to you buy what I want or need. The payoff, I manipulated you with my generic excuse. I don't deserve it translates to feel sorry for me. The payoff, you're going to give me what I want because you can't stand me feeling unworthy. So if you are codependent, all of these are very important to look at. But anyway, of course, you don't have to be a child in a family to benefit from virtually all of these excuses that in one way or another allow you to manipulate others into your bidding. 5, being right. There's nothing that the false self loves more than being right and making someone else wrong. And excuses are tailor-made for this. When you use an excuse, you get to feel superior and put someone else in the position of being a loser. An ego loves feeling like a winner, especially at the expense of others. So if you are watching yourself do this and you're watching yourself needing to put others down and your up is at the expense of them, red flag. So, because excuses are simply explanations you make to yourself that have no necessary bearing on the truth. Yet even though they're lies, they don't bring you some sort of reward. So while your only evidence may be habitual thought, if you convince yourself that you're right, you get to retreat into the illusion of winning. And in this case, this excuse is a deception that props up your low self-esteem. We are all moving towards higher order values. So if you catch yourself doing lower order values, you look at the map of consciousness with David Hawkins, and you are below 200 in the vibrational scale, and you are in shame, apathy, and all these other, anger. And anger is good if you're in the lower shame and apathy because you're now moving up the scale. You can't sometimes get to the higher energies without walking through some of these places, but you definitely don't want to exist in that bandwidth. And if you're seeing these things, then you're not moving in the right direction. So higher order values. So you submitted an excuse in place of authentic self-worth, and the payoff is that your reasoning helps you to live with yourself without acknowledging your self-deceit. So no one will ever help me translates to I'm not deserving or lucky enough to get others to help me, just like I've always said. So there you have it. I'm right again. Okay, we don't want to be right about that. The rules won't be translated to, see how, the rules won't let me translates to, see how smart I am. I've always said that you can't get ahead, and anyone who disagrees with me is a loser. Okay, no, because we all have different perspectives. There will be a family drama translates to, I'm right about this family and I've always been right. All the rest of you just don't know as much as I do. Okay, all of those things box you into a corner. We do not, nobody puts baby in the corner, right? Get baby out of the corner with the excuses be gone paradigm. So on and on goes this convoluted logic. And when you're an excuse maker, you need to be right and haul out anything you can think of to prove to the world how wrong it is. And conversely, how right you are. And in the bottom line, you end up losing. And when you lose, everybody loses because we are one. We really are. You can't harm another person without harming yourself. They can't harm you without harming themselves. In the end, if we could just go into the higher order values and shortcut all these excuses and blocks and lower order values, we could just exponentially rise that critical mass and shift the world into the new earth. Okay, 6, blame. When you resort to using an excuse, the ultimate payoff is that you remove responsibility for your own shortcomings and replace responsibility for them on the shoulders of someone else. So here we go again. I've written about this blame game throughout this book. And once again, this is the work of the ego. What is the ego? Ego edges God out. It's that false self that doesn't believe in your infinite divine nature, but does track on how well you stack up against the people and events of this material world. And ultimately, it holds us back. So if you're not doing well, the ego says that it's someone else's fault. If you're unhappy, unwealthy, indignant, unlucky, fearful, or any other negative descriptors that you can come up with, this is all the fault of something or someone external to yourself. While your highest self happily thrives on humility, the ego is exceptionally proud. Thus, when anything goes wrong, the ego's inclination is to blame someone else and maintain its pride. So check yourself with that too. So blame pays a colossal dividend. So the ego constructs something to bring it about whenever possible. And that's why when you blame the economy, the political party in power, the oil-rich sheiks in Saudi Arabia, or anyone else you can think of, your false self receives an award. Unable to save money, get investors to your pet project, pay your bills, or justify your bankruptcy, not only does the blame game provide you with a convenient scapegoat, but it also delivers a rich payoff for continuing to use all the excuses that have become a way of life. And you know what's interesting too is if you do the work will do you. But after a while, even though Wayne Dyer breaks it down, like it's like 360 degrees, and he's breaking down 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, 60 degree, 90 degree, whatever. The thing about it is after a while, you start to realize it's actually one energy moving in one wavelength. And once you just say, I'm done with these excuses, and I'm going to boldly walk in the direction of my purpose and dreams, then that's exactly what you'll do. Okay, so 7, protection. When you were a child, you were most likely offered the protection of your family. And if you weren't, I'm sorry. You still owe it to yourself the responsibility of healing and getting strong so we can have your best life. So you were small and they were big. You didn't have much. They controlled just about everything. You had to ask permission. They doled out their authority. In other words, you were protected. As you grew into adulthood, those leftover behaviors were convenient to hang on to, even though being grown meant no longer seeking permission from parents or getting the sustenance you had when you were little. A host of excuses evolved that had the feeling of being protected as their primary payoff, so you may still be thinking and acting like a child. To maintain the benefit of childhood without appearing childish, you created excuses that allowed you to retreat into the familiar territory of feeling taken care of. So just kind of absorb that. That's why as we step into our adulthood, our mature selves, it's a very different person that comes forward. And we want to make sure that we don't destroy the beautiful childlike qualities we have. Being childish is one thing, but being childlike is different. And so we want to still have our childlike joy, innocence, and imaginations, but we want to put to bed the childish ways. Okay, so reasons why you're not manifesting your life you desire provide you with the reward of being able to retreat to the feeling of being a little boy or a little girl. This is a powerful payoff indeed, even though it doesn't serve you very well as an adult. And as a parent, I felt that my job isn't to be someone my child can lean on, but rather to help them realize that leaning is unnecessary. And as some of my kids reached adulthood, however, I noted that they were obviously reluctant to take on the full mantle of self-responsibility. An excuse surfaced. I saw that they were seeking the protection of having everything decided for them. I'm not strong enough. It's translated to, you do it for me, Daddy. And then I can feel protected again. And I can't afford it, translated to, you pay it, and then I'm off the hook. So similarly, so many of the excuses you may be using have that built-in dividend of allowing you to explain away your deficiencies and feel like a protected youngster again. While regressing back to childhood may let you feel temporarily protected, it's obviously going to keep you stuck in place. After all, reality dictates that mommy and daddy can't shield you ad infinitum. So it's interesting because this really, whoever is listening, this speaks to both sides. If you are the parent to the child and you're working to, raise an independent child, or if you are so-called the child to the adult and you are not kind of stepping into your full adulthood. So let that hit you however it does. 8, escaping the present moment. The now is all there is. It is all that there has ever been and all that there will ever be right now. Yet just as there are many ways to live gloriously and happily in the present moment, there are also many ways to attempt to escape from living fully in the now, and that's where excuses come in. Like all other mental activities, excuse making takes place totally in the here and now. When you engage in this practice, that's how you use up the present. If you're devoting the moment to justifications and defensiveness, then it isn't possible to use it to do something constructive. Work at changing, make love, marvel at your children, enjoy each breath you take, and so forth. The payoff is that you get something to do with your time. Even though it may be neurotic in nature, it's nevertheless a convenient escape mechanism to keep you stuck in your old habits. So that is brilliant. And I think this is sort of why things like social media and things, it's just consuming people, because then the payoff is like they're never in the present moment. And then they're distracted and then they never do anything. Well, we want to utilize social media to help us establish our platforms to do service to others, to help the world, to help ourselves. I mean, of course, you have to earn an income and you have to do what you have to do, but you don't want to be the slave of the social media. You know, it should be utilized in constructive ways. So the present is all you'll ever have, and every excuse you use keeps you from being here now. While you can never avoid the now, excuse making makes certain that you won't change the old habits, since you'll be too busy filling up your precious seconds with excuses. Okay, so you see that? You're in the now. Here it is. Bada bing, bada boom, boop, boop, boop. We're now, now, now. But if you're taking that moment to fill it up with all the excuses of why you can't do a YouTube channel, why you can't publish that book, why you can't get that degree, why you can't go to school, why you can't learn to dance or whatever, you just took up that whole now, which is the only moment we ever have, to do nothing. It just literally just drained all your power. So take it to heart. We're going to excuses be gone away this 2023, because we are changing habits that don't serve us. So next, we're going to be moving into suggestions for reversing these payoffs. So we had 8 payoffs. Okay, let's see. The first one was avoidance. The second one was safety. The third one was the easy way out. The fourth was manipulation. The fifth was being right. And the sixth was blame. The seventh was protection. And the 8th is escaping the present moment. So we're going to be coming back tomorrow with suggestions for reversing those payoffs. Reversing uno and going in the right direction and taking our now and making that now blow up and multiply into a beautiful life. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your support. When you can, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave your positive comments. I so look forward to hearing from you. All right. Thank you so much. And you know what's next? Peace in, peace out.